And 3, 2, 1, action intro. What's up? I'm Justin and welcome to another video. So a question I get asked a lot on posts and in direct messages is, what do I shoot with? And it's really actually a great question. So much of photography doesn't depend on what you're using, but how you use it. But at the same time, gear is very important to photography. So today we're gonna be diving into what's in my camera bag, what do I take to almost every single shoot, and what's my go-to setup. First things first, let's talk about bags. So this is what I carry all of my gear around in, probably about 90% of the time. It's super easy because I can just fit everything into it and take it to studios or take it to a location. And I don't have to worry about it. It gets a little heavy, but it does carry everything really nicely. This is Strobe Pro Ultimate Traveler Gear Pack, I believe is what it's called, something along those lines. I'll link it below so anyone's interested can check it out. But the reason I went with that bag is because it costs, I believe, 150 Canadian, which works out to be about $125 US, and it has so much room. It's really secure. I have not had any problems with it, and it fits all of my gear in it. So about the other 10 to 15% of the time, I use this bag. This is the Langley Alpha Globetrotter. I think it's the original one. They look a little different now, but this is a great outdoor backpack. It comes weatherproofed and has a decent amount of storage for just, you know, everything. But the reason I switched to the other bag was it just didn't fit everything I needed. So if I am going on to a location where I might not need strobes or something like that, that is the bag I'll opt for. It fits really nicely on my shoulders. It's padded and you don't really even feel the weight of everything. So it is a really nice camera backpack. So now that we covered bags, let's go ahead and dive into the bags and see what I keep inside. First things first, if you didn't already know this, I am a hardcore Sony shooter. Ever since I switched over to Sony after shooting Nikon for 4 years, I haven't even dreamed of looking back. So currently I'm filming this on a Sony a7 III. I just picked up a Sony a7R III. So those are the two camera bodies I take with me. My Sony a7R III is gonna become my new primary body for portraits, and I use the a7 III for events and other things where I don't exactly need 42 megapixels. Attached to my Sony a7 III right now, I have the 24-70 f2.8 G Master made by Sony. That is one of my all-time favorite lenses. It's so sharp, it focuses incredibly. The 24-70 is just an all-around great lens. It is my go-to lens in most cases. If I had to pick one lens that I would take to a shoot where I didn't know what was gonna happen, it would be the 24-70. Reason being, you have the flexibility of shooting wide or zoomed if you need to. The 70 millimeters is of course not a great zoom, but it's just enough that you can get by. You can have lens distortion if you need it to get a really wide shot, or you can get to 70 millimeters and you minimize that distortion and get really nice bokeh in your portraits. So 24-70 is my go-to lens for most things. I won't be able to show it to you because I am filming on it. Next up in lenses, I have the Sigma 35mm 1.4 art lens. Now this is a great lens for portraits. I use it all the time. I'm a big fan of zoom lenses. I love my 24-70 and my 70-200, but this is a really great lens if I want to get those nice soft backgrounds that I can't get with the 24-70. I've had it for coming up on a year now, and I use it almost every single photo shoot I have. Next up, you just heard me mention it when I was talking about the 35mm, but is this Sony 70-200 f2.8. This lens is incredible. 70-200 is probably my favorite focal length, but it doesn't always work great for situational shots. So I try to use this when I can, but if I can't use it, I go back to that 24-70, and I've got a huge range covered between 24mm and 200mm at 2.8. You can't beat it. This also produces some really incredible bokeh at 200mm. So, you know, since I don't have any long prime lenses, this makes up for it. So if you're not following me very closely on Instagram, where I post a lot of BTS and metadata stuff, I am a huge fan of shooting with strobes and off-camera flash. So next on my list, I have my two Godox 8200s. Now these are really great versatile strobes. They're very lightweight, have tons of battery life. I mean, these are, I can shoot an entire wedding with these and still have battery life afterwards. So I love using these. I also have an 80B2 that I connect them to and can turn it into a 400 watt second strobe. But Godox lights are great. They're inexpensive. I forget how much I paid for these. They're probably about $300 a piece. Compared to something like Profoto or even Electron, these are really great options for somebody who wants to get into strobes but doesn't know where to start. Next up is another light that I love. This is the Godox 8600 Pro. Now the Godox 8600 Pro is 600 watt second head. This thing is strong. I can take it out and combat the sun. It's really great when you're shooting in the middle of the day. I throw a octabox on this thing and I get some really nice soft light out on location. It's also fairly light and portable, and it has a handle so I can carry it around if I want to shoot with it off of a stand. So I throw this in my bag. So if 200 or 400 doesn't do it, I have a 600 ready to go. I also have my Godox Transmitter. Now this is awesome too. All the Godox work together. That's why I have 3 of them. Actually 4 if you count my speed light, but this transmitter can speak to all of them. I can set them all to different channels and control them from my camera with this. The screen on it is perfect too. It's a large size so you can see everything really clear. It's backlit too, so if it's dark and you're shooting in studio, you can have the backlight so you can see what all your settings are. This is definitely a must-have if you're shooting with Godox. As I just mentioned, I do keep a speed light in my bag too. This is the Godox V862S. Now this is a great speed light for events, which is why I purchased it. The reason being is this is a master, so I can actually set this to master, use it as an on-camera flash, and have my Godox stationed around the event and still fire different off-camera flashes as well. And at the same time, I'm able to control all of them right back here, so I can see what my 8200s are set to, if I have my 8600, what it's set to, and I don't have to go over and change them. I can do it all right from this. I'm also a really huge fan of Peak Design. If you don't know what Peak Design is, they are a strap and bag manufacturer. They make some really quality products. I recently bought this that I take to all my shoots. It is a lens case that mounts to your belt. So I can put my 24-70 or my 70-200 in this. It'll mount to the side of my waist, and then when I need to swap, I can just open it up, pull it out, swap the lens, and put the other one back in here. I've never had any issues with it falling off. The Velcro is extremely strong, but even if that weren't the case, it does have the Peak Design clips on the back, so I could clip it to another strap if I wanted to too, and it would still be just as secure. So this is something I use all the time for wedding photography, because that way I don't have to keep running back and forth between my bag to change lenses. All right, next up I have what I just mentioned before, the Peak Design camera strap that I use. You can just use these clips and I could connect my camera to it. I could connect the bag that I was just showing you, the side bag. They're really great and really solid. I mean, this is not very big, maybe about an inch in thickness, but it's super sturdy. I've never had an issue with it. I can carry my Sony a7 III with a 70-200 on it, and I've never had an issue with even the clips breaking. I swear by these products, guys, so I'm gonna drop a link below. You can get this same strap if you're interested. It's called The Leash, and I believe it's $39.95 on their website. Highly recommend you guys check them out if you haven't before. Next up, I have my Pelican SD card case. I carry this around with me because nothing's worse than having something happen to an SD card before, after, or during a shoot. So I always keep more than one SD card on my person, and I will try to carry this in my pocket if I can. But these are really great. They keep them safe. I believe they're waterproof too, and they're not that expensive. I'll drop an Amazon link to where you can find these also. So now I want to talk about some of the accessories that I carry in here. Now I don't use these all the time, but they're great to have just in case something happens on a shoot and you need them. One is a rocket blower. This thing is really awesome for when you're switching lenses, if you're outside, and if you use a mirrorless system, you know they are dust magnets and you will get dust on your sensor if you're swapping lenses often. So I always keep one of these just in case I need it, so I don't have to go back and retouch out dust spots or dirt spots. I also carry a microfiber cloth at probably 3 or 4 of these things because you never know when you're gonna need one and what will happen to it. So this is a Pixel Connection cloth that I got at one of their events. Pixel Connection is also a great resource for any photographers out there. They're doing some really great live speaker interview style classes right now. So those are really great during coronavirus that you can actually check those out. I believe they're all on their YouTube page as well. This may seem like a no-brainer, but I also carry multiple batteries with me. I think I typically will have 3 backup batteries just in case anything happens. The battery life of the Sony a7 III, a7R III batteries are pretty good, but you never know what's gonna happen. If you're shooting in the cold, your battery might drain a little bit quicker. Same thing if it's really hot out. So I always keep 2 or 3 of these in my bag just in case. All right, 2 more things I think are absolute necessities to keep inside your camera bag. Pony clamps, I believe that's what they're called, or pony clips. I don't know what they're called exactly, but these are super great for if you're on location and you need to pin something back, or you need to hold, you need to clip a reflector in place so it doesn't fall. I always carry at least 1 small one for clothing and 1 large one for holding stuff up in my bag. Sometimes I'll even carry more with me, but they're super cheap. I mean, this one was probably under $1. The big ones are like $1, so definitely pick up a couple of those because you never know when they'll come in handy. And last but not least, I also keep a tether cord in my bag. So I don't use these a lot on location. I pretty much exclusively use this when I'm shooting in studio, and even still I don't use it every single time. But a tether cord is really great because I can plug it into my camera. If I have a client there and I plug this into my computer, they can see the images come right into the computer in real time, and then we can make adjustments if we need to. That way I'm not just showing them the back of the camera and they're looking at this tiny LCD screen. So these are really great. If you don't tether, I definitely would look into it. This is a Tether Tools USB to USB-C, I believe, or whatever the input is on the Sony. They make one for pretty much every single camera, so I'll drop a link to the Tether Tools website in the description as well. So as you can see, my bag carries quite a bit of stuff in it. I love it for that reason, especially because I can fit all of my gear into it and I don't have to pack that much stuff. I just throw it over my shoulder and I'm good to go. I'm gonna drop links below to everything I just talked about, so that way if you're interested or you wanna check out one of the things I was just talking about, you can go to the website below and check them out. So that's all I got for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you already subscribed to my channel, please turn on the notification bell so you'll be notified when I post a new video. I've got a couple really exciting ones coming up in the next week or 2 here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.